Welcome back to the show.
Let's go. How are we doing today?
Doing great.
Awesome.
Yeah. Weather turned around and I'm ready to go have some relaxation, which is what we're going to be talking about today.
I really do wish sometimes that people could actually see our interactions right before we hit record, because it's hilarious. Yeah. We're goofy. We're funny. We actually start talking about stuff. We're like, well, let's just hit record.
Yeah, I said we're wasting the good stuff. We
Don't waste the good
so
stuff,
you can hear
baby.
it.
So I have a topic today. I want to ask you some questions a little bit, and then I'll do my thing. But a while back, I recognized, and I say a while back, it's probably a couple of years ago, but I have not really fought it in a way like I have recently. I was addicted to progress. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not okay unless things are progressing.
Yeah.
High five me. why do I get a high five from that?
That's kind of a personality trait that we share, and that's probably why we get along so well.
Well, everything can have a good side and a bad side to it, and
too much of anything can have a negative. Yeah.
So I love the fact that I love progress, but at the same time, it became such an addiction that I couldn't release. I couldn't relax. I couldn't, just be. I couldn't
Unplug.
Well, I know, even on a day off, like a complete day off. And I rarely take any days off. Like, I'm always doing something. I'm always working towards something. That's why I think that addiction comes from. But even like, okay, it's a day off, but then I still find a way to do 2 or 3 or 4 hours worth of something. Mm-hmm. So even when I decided, okay, I am not going to work today, I am just going to do whatever. Like, then it's like, well, then let's go pull weeds and mow the lawn and, got to get something
do something
done.
Productive. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not demonizing that completely, but I have really challenged the energy or the essence behind the idea of needing progress. And I have been asking myself a very important question recently that has been showing up, and I've been experiencing it, and it's been beautiful. Can I experience peace and being productive at the same time? Can these two things coexist? It's actually one of my lessons I'm going to teach to the teams that I'm working with this year. I put down is the idea of anxiousness or nerves and excitement can coexist, right? Or even anxiousness and being focused and calm can coexist.
Yeah.
Pressure and
productivity is like an identity, is what I realized. Like, I was even like, as I'm giving you a high five, like, yeah, I like that about us.
You like that about me. That's why I love you.
It becomes part of your identity. Like, just being a person who gets things done. Yeah. And when you're not doing it, it can feel really uncomfortable.
Well, you heard us say this a lot. Everything's a pattern, right? Physical, mental, and emotional patterns. So anytime you begin to like live outside the pattern, it feels unknown, it feels unfamiliar, it feels even like a threat to a certain degree. Yeah. So here's the other side of it. Do you know what one of my favorite quotes in the whole world is and who it comes from? Mm-hmm. What is it?
It's from Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah. Okay. What does Winnie the Pooh say?
I'll probably get it wrong, but I think it's something like the best.
The very best.
The very best of something often comes from doing nothing or nothing.
I don't think he says doing, but whatever. It's close enough. I'm not sure if I can even say it verbatim, but it's just the idea behind it. Yeah. The very best of something comes from doing nothing or comes from nothing. So this is something we have for a long time been practicing it, but I've been really, really trying to do this even more. And here's what I want people to understand. Number one is, like, everything's a pattern. You can get addicted to anything. You can get addicted to progress. That can be a positive thing because you're moving the needle forward in your life, and progress is the doorway to happiness, in my opinion. Like, we are evolutionary beings. Their desire is an evolutionary pulse. We desire things because we're here to grow and to evolve. But the idea of growing and evolving and progress that leads to happiness and being addicted to getting things done and checking boxes in a to-do list, I think a nuanced difference.
Yeah. I think there's a difference between checking boxes and purposeful progress. Because I've heard people say that there's a podcast that I'd listened to in the past, and the host would always say the opposite of depression isn't happiness, it's purpose. And so it's purposeful progress and doing something meaningful, not just always checking boxes to feel a sense of worthiness that you've done enough for that day to deserve to relax.
That's the underlining issue, is that it's a worthiness component. Now I deserve. Okay, now I can, whatever. Yeah. Here's what I would say is that has actually been the outcome as I have forced myself to explore this idea of being peaceful and productive at the same time. I have, we just got back from a couple of different stints at the lake where we spent 4, 5, 6 days, barely working and or not working at all, and a lot of boat time and a lot of family time. And like, there's moments where you have to surrender to doing nothing, especially when we go out to Priest Lake, where we're out in this place that we call the Shallows. It's about 4 feet of water or so, something like that, probably 3.5 feet of water. And we throw the anchor down, and it's sandy bottom, and we just sit there and hang out and play music and have some snacks, and the kids swim and whatever. And a lot of times we'll sit there for, I don't know, a couple hours, and so that's something that is fairly like a challenge for me in some ways, but there's this threshold. There's this threshold that I cross where it's like, oh, and now I'm comfortable, and now I'm enjoying it, but I have to get past that resistance because I'm not getting something done. Like I've gotten so in the last decade or so since I left coaching and I've built companies, and it was just there's always, and if you look at my to-do list, like it's like, I'm sorry, but there's something to do for the next.
Anybody who owns a business knows that one comes off and another one goes on. It's just never ending.
3 more goes on.
Yeah.
Because you just get another idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. But here's what I would say is that with that intentional pause and with the challenging of always having to make progress and being addicted to that progress, which I still am, and I don't care to ever really necessarily get away from it completely, but it was beginning to impact the quality of my life, is that the clarity is better. The purposeful action is better. I would say that I'm getting better. I'm not perfect by any means, but I'm getting better at taking purposeful action rather than just being addicted to progress.
Yeah, because you could stay busy doing a ton of extra stuff that really isn't purposeful.
Yeah. Just not working just to work.
Yeah.
And there's a feeling that I get when I'm sitting at my desk, or a certain amount of time that goes by, where like now I'm just looking for stuff to do. I'm like just creating content and now I'm just creating confusion.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I could update this.
Oh, and I have 3 different documents on my Google Drive that have the same topic. And I'm like, which one did I, was I working on here? And so, that has been something that has made me really, really curious recently. And is like how much when I started to explore this idea of being peaceful and productive, like it just be an effortless ease. Like I am moving the needle forward, but it does not have to feel like a grind, and I don't have to get something done to be okay. I'm okay, and then I get something done. Yeah, big difference. So the questioning behind that piece is, how much are we creating or working unnecessarily? Right. And or then therefore like expending energy, creating resistance, like how much of that am I never going to use or whatever,
right?
Versus really being like, okay, right now I'm in the right headspace to either hit record on a podcast or to work on a future program. I'm doing a lot of programming right now. I have 2 different programs that I'm writing that I think are going to probably take me to really have them completely ready for the world. I think it's probably about a 3-year journey. Yeah.
And then we have some updates to some existing programs that we're working on.
But to really make sure that I'm in the right state of mind. So when I am working on it, it's not just me feeling good about working. but I'm actually truly like in that space. And the only way to get to that space is to step away from it. The only way to get to that space is to do nothing. It's to not make progress. The only way to get the fresh ideas, the fresh perspective, to feel like you're excited and energized to dive back in, and with that clarity, and then the needle moves so much faster. In my opinion, I get so much more done, like in a day's time or a week's time, than you can just kind of feel like you're spinning the wheels a little bit, right? Like you're working, but are you getting anywhere? Or are you just kind of paddling in circles a little bit? So that's been my experience. My experience has been, and we have these conversations here because maybe you relate to that, as a listener, that you relate to somebody who you feel like you're spinning wheels a little bit. You're just kind of like you're dog paddling, not feel like you're going anywhere, but you
or you have trouble relaxing.
You have trouble relaxing, and you know that like you feel good when you get the to-do list done. But has anything really changed in your life? Has anything ever really evolved in your life? And there's a big difference between getting something done and how did I verbalize it a few moments ago? Like big difference between just getting something done to be okay versus
being okay.
Versus being okay and taking purposeful action.
Yeah. And thinking about the things that are actually the most important in your life, because nobody cares how hard, like how many programs you created on the computer at the end of your life. But like what your kids care about is, did you get down and look at them in the eye? And did you spend time with them? Did you listen to them? And all of these types of things. It's so taking the time out. I hear so many times, like, moms that I've worked with, they can't sit down. Their family's watching a movie and they're like in the background walking around doing stuff. And their kids or their husband or whoever's like, come on, sit down, watch the movie with us. And they're just like, I can't sit down. That is what we're talking about. It's like, I have to be doing something all the time to be productive. And actually sometimes the most important work you can do is actually slowing down and spending time with the people that are important in your life.
It reminds me of the podcast that I don't remember what number it was that I recorded years ago with Mark Devine. We were talking about stillness. We were talking about the practice of silence and stillness. It's a beautiful podcast. If you haven't listened to it, I recommend you go back. I think it was like number, 17 or 20 or something like that. It was early on in our podcasting kind of journey a few years back. And we were talking about why like sitting still. And, now that's the interesting piece about like even what I'm talking about, because I'm a very consistent meditator. So I have no problem in stepping out of my life to meditate. But to me, I look at meditation as progress.
That's what I was going to say. Meditation is part of your work.
It's part of my work. So I legitimately I consider that like if I had to, obviously we create our own hours, but if I had to clock in and clock out, I look at everything like the sauna, cold exposure training, mental imagery stuff that I do, meditation. I look at all of that as work. I look at all of that as like, if I had, I don't know how many hours a day I work, but if it was an 8-hour work day, right? Like a normal employment type of a thing, then I would count all of that a part of my 8 hours. And I probably work more than 8 hours a day, but so that in and of itself feels like progress. So we were talking about the idea of stillness and silence, and the resistance that we have to that is because it's a lifetime of the inertia that's built up of just constant motion. And that again, I know I keep saying this, but like that's the pattern of progress, the pattern of motion, the pattern of just moving. But like, are you actually moving in a intentional, purposeful direction? Not only externally, but internally. And like, this is where the theme comes back. It always does. I didn't mean for this to happen in this conversation either, where it always comes back to why we chose the name Heart First. Because the idea of integration, when we talk about our program, our signature program, Integrated Mindset, we talk about the idea of integration. We talk about the idea of being oriented to the world from the inside out. right? Where the outside world is a mirror to our inside world and how we're in need of healing and these different things. And so like the real progress is when your orientation is right and you're oriented from the inside out, which means that you have paused, you have sat down, you have been still long enough to create that clarity. And then you should take in purposeful action, right? Meaningful action. You have made sure, and even something that I thought about when you're talking about the kids and that kind of stuff is, I think a part of this idea of getting out of the addiction to progress. I mean, I think it's no different than the addiction to just our society of more either. Like our mind is an energy field that and that creates this desire, this evolutionary pulse for desire, which is more. Now I need the next thing, the next toy, the next whatever, right? Shiny object. Is to interrupt that by making sure that your priorities are in line too as well, right? Yeah. So when you start to live your priorities, when you start to make sure you're making space and time to interrupt the pattern of progress, then the progress that you make in life becomes more meaningful and it becomes more truly authentic, coming from your heart, from a place where you're actually creating what you want, not just getting things
you hear
done.
these stories about people who create businesses and things and they work for years and then they realize like, I don't even want this. What they've created, they've just been creating, building this thing. And then they didn't stop to really think, what is the lifestyle that I want or what's actually important to me? And will this allow me the time, energy, all those really important resources, that we can't get back.
That's so good.
But we're pursuing something like, money or success or whatever it is with something like a business. And then they get to a certain point and go like, what was I doing?
Yeah, so let's land on that to finish this up for today. Because that's one of the things that in that neuro wisdom course that we were working on. I know we talk about her a lot in our podcast, but she's been such an influential part of our journey as a mentor. Stephanie Fay, neuroscience specialist. What's the name of her podcast again?
Mindset Neuroscience. Sorry, Stephanie, for never remembering the name of your podcast. I love your podcast, by the way. I just don't remember the name. She does a lot of coaching with coaches and teaching neuroscience language to coaches so we feel comfortable. Like that's why we worked with her for 2 years. We feel comfortable to use a little bit of scientific type of language in our coaching to create confidence and validate what we're coaching. And one of the things that she talks about is being very clear about experience and impact. Not just, I want to make X amount of dollars or I want to have X, Y, Z things, car, toys, second house or whatever, but I want to make sure that you're clear about, and a lot of times let's say as a coach, as a, call ourselves, I hate this word, but life coach. We're not life coaches, but we're mental performance, mental strength coaches. You would think, I want to have 10 clients and I want to have this, 2 corporate clients but you don't stop to think about what your actual calendar and the quality of your life looks like. Well, what a lot of people do is they go like, I want to make this much money. And this is how much I'm charging. Yeah. So that's how many clients I'm going to have. And it's like, but what kind of service do you want to give to your clients?
When you reverse engineer that, you say, I want to make $100,000, for easy math. I want to make $100,000 and I charge X. So I got to have this many clients and whatever else. Right. Well, then but you don't stop and think about like, how much time are you spending doing hobbies, or what does your priorities look like, or family time, or, and or self-care. Because like for me, I got last fall, it kind of happened where I got too busy and, where I was, the financial piece was nice, but I had lost some of that connection and essence behind some of my more internal spiritual exploration. Yeah. Which that's where the real fulfillment comes from.
And that's what makes you a better coach when you're actually able to do your own practices and take the time to think deeply and to have new thought, new ideas, things that you can bring to your clients. I think when you load up your schedule so much, then Nobody's getting the
Survival
best
mode.
of you. Yeah.
Right. But I think that's the case for in any area or
Absolutely.
any person, no matter whether you're a coach or whatever, is let's be more, and this is the heart first approach. And we talk about this in our programs as well. Be more curious and more clear about the experience that you want to have and the impact you want to make. Right. And then, I think we even talked about doing a podcast about this someday. And I can't remember your language around this, but it was like, rather than trying to create how did it work? Life, the business that supports the life that you want. What was the language that you used around
life?
that?
Life first.
Life first business.
Yeah.
That's what you called it. Yeah, that's what it was. And that's an interesting way of like looking at how you operate, right? And what are you progressing towards, and not being just addicted to progress.
Yeah.
And I can 100% tell you that in just even the last few days, I have been very, very productive. I'm even surprised by how much I'm getting done. Even today, I sat down to think, oh my gosh, I have so much to do. And I'm like, oh, it's 1:30 and I got it all done. And I'm good. I think I'm going to go mow the lawn and hang out with the kids and go for a bike ride or whatever, because I got everything done, but it was very intentional and purposeful rather than just feeling like, well, it's 1:30, so I got to keep working because it's 1:30.
Right.
Which was legitimately how I operated before. So that, like, being really, really clear about the impact you want to make and the experience you want to have, right? And you can't get clear about that if you're just in productivity mode.
No, you don't have any time or space to think about it.
Right. You got to pull out of it, and you got to practice the Winnie the Pooh.
The Winnie the Pooh.
The Winnie
Do
the
the
Pooh.
poo.
Do the poo, baby. You got to pause. You got to be curious about how the very best of something can come from doing nothing.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
you got to be in that nothing long enough to get past the resistance of doing nothing. That's it. That's what I got for you today.
Yeah, I love that. This topic resonated with you and you want to share some comments with us, or you have a question that you'd like some coaching around, we'd love to answer your question here on the podcast, or even possibly invite you to come on and be coached live if you'd like to do that with us. So you can head to the link in the show notes, which is a link to text us directly. So we would love to hear from you and connect with you. So thanks again for being here, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for your time.